The Viking Age, spanning from the late 8th century to the mid-11th century, marked a transformative period in Northern European history. During this era, the Scandinavian peoples, primarily from Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, developed sophisticated architectural and construction techniques that reflected their deep understanding of their challenging environment. The harsh Nordic landscape played a crucial role in shaping Viking construction methods. Scandinavia's geography presented a diverse array of challenges: rugged coastlines carved by fjords, dense forests dominated by pine and birch, and rocky terrain that demanded innovative building solutions. This varied landscape fostered a remarkable adaptability in Viking construction techniques, as builders had to work with different terrains and local materials across their territories. The climate of Viking Age Scandinavia was particularly demanding, characterized by long, harsh winters and relatively short summers. Temperatures could plunge well below freezing for extended periods, while strong winds and heavy precipitation were common throughout the year. These environmental conditions necessitated robust construction methods that could withstand severe weather while providing adequate shelter for both people and livestock. Despite the challenging environment, the Vikings masterfully utilized their available natural resources. The abundant forests provided essential building materials, particularly pine and oak, which became the cornerstone of their construction. The rocky terrain, while challenging for agriculture, provided stone for foundations and defensive structures. Even the seemingly limiting factors of their environment spurred innovation in their architectural designs. The Vikings' intimate connection with the sea significantly influenced their settlement patterns. Coastal locations were preferred for their strategic value in maritime trade and exploration. These settlements often featured a combination of residential structures, boathouses, and defensive installations, all carefully positioned to maximize protection from the elements while maintaining access to maritime routes. Their society's emphasis on maritime activities shaped not only their settlement locations, but also their architectural priorities. The construction of boathouses and shipyards became as important as residential buildings. These structures had to be both functional and durable, capable of protecting valuable vessels while facilitating quick access to the sea for trade or defense. Resource management was a crucial aspect of Viking construction. In regions where wood was scarce, such as parts of Iceland and Greenland, Vikings adapted by using turf and stone as primary building materials. This adaptability demonstrated their practical approach to construction and their ability to modify traditional building techniques based on local conditions. The Vikings' building practices were not static, but evolved through their interactions with other cultures during their extensive travels. Their settlements stretched from North America to the Middle East, and each new territory presented unique challenges that contributed to the evolution of their construction techniques. This extensive network of trade and exploration allowed them to incorporate new ideas and materials into their traditional building methods. Understanding this historical and geographical context is essential to appreciating the ingenuity of Viking architecture and construction. Their buildings were not merely shelters, but sophisticated responses to environmental challenges, reflecting a deep understanding of materials, climate, and terrain. This foundation of practical knowledge and adaptability would influence Northern European architecture for centuries to come. If you are passionate about the Middle Ages and want to embark on this historical journey with us, like the video and subscribe to the channel The Medieval Archives so you don't miss any fascinating content. In the complex world of Viking construction, master craftsmen held positions of remarkable prestige. The master builder, known as Bygmeister in Old Norse, was more than just a construction worker. They were keepers of ancient knowledge, innovators, and respected community leaders. These master craftsmen combined technical expertise with artistic sensitivity, understanding both the practical needs of construction and the cultural significance of traditional Norse designs. The master builder's role encompassed various responsibilities, from selecting the right trees for timber to organizing complex construction projects like longhouses and ships. Their knowledge was passed down through generations, often within families, creating dynasties of skilled craftsmen who maintained and evolved construction techniques over centuries. These builders understood the properties of different woods, the behavior of materials in various weather conditions, and the intricate joinery techniques that made Viking structures remarkably durable. Supporting the master builder were several crucial figures, each playing vital roles in the construction process. The clan chieftain, or jarl, was instrumental in commissioning major building projects. These leaders not only provided resources and manpower, but also influenced architectural decisions based on their status and the community's needs. The grandeur of their own longhouses served as symbols of power and wealth, often featuring elaborately carved dragon heads and intricate decorative elements. Specialist carpenters, known as trefellingarmen, worked under the master builder's guidance. These skilled artisans specialized in specific aspects of construction, such as roof framing or decorative carving. Their expertise in working with different tools and techniques was essential for creating the complex joints and structural elements that characterized Viking architecture. Some specialized in crafting the ornate portal posts and interior columns that were both functional and deeply symbolic. Traveling merchants played a crucial role in bringing new materials and ideas to Viking construction. These traders, or kaupmaður, journeyed across vast networks from the Mediterranean to the Baltic, introducing new construction techniques and materials to Viking builders. They brought exotic woods, metal fittings, and news of architectural innovations from distant lands, contributing to the evolution of Viking building practices. One of the most fascinating historical figures in Viking construction history was Harald Hardrada, whose influence extended far beyond his military campaigns. Before becoming King of Norway, Harald spent years in Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul, where he absorbed Byzantine architectural knowledge. Upon his return to Scandinavia, he introduced new construction techniques and architectural elements inspired by his travels. Harald was particularly known for incorporating stone construction techniques learned from the Byzantines, marking a significant evolution in Viking building practices. Harald Hardrada's building projects were ambitious and innovative. He commissioned the construction of several churches and fortifications that combined traditional Norse building methods with Byzantine influences. His most notable contribution was the introduction of stone foundation techniques that improved the durability of wooden structures. The king's projects demonstrated how Viking architecture could adapt and evolve through cross-cultural exchange while maintaining its distinctive character. The influence of these key figures extended beyond their immediate projects. Their innovations in construction techniques were adopted across the Viking world, from the settlements of Iceland to the outposts of Normandy. The synthesis of traditional Norse methods with new techniques created a dynamic architectural tradition that continued to evolve throughout the Viking Age. Through the combined efforts of master builders, clan chiefs, specialized craftsmen, merchants, and visionary leaders like Harald Hardrada, Viking architecture achieved a level of sophistication that belied its reputation for simplicity. Their legacy lives on in surviving structures and in the continuing influence of Norse building techniques on modern Scandinavian architecture. The stories of these key figures remind us that Viking architecture was not simply a product of necessity, but a sophisticated craft that combined practical knowledge with artistic expression, cultural traditions, and innovations from across the medieval world. At the heart of Viking architectural development lies a compelling narrative of human ingenuity and survival. The principal theme that emerges is the remarkable adaptability and resourcefulness in construction, which became not just a practical necessity, but a defining characteristic of Norse civilization. The Vikings' architectural solutions reveal a sophisticated understanding of their environment and an exceptional ability to innovate under challenging circumstances. The central conflict that drove architectural innovation was the constant struggle for survival in an unforgiving environment. The harsh Nordic climate, with its bitter winters, fierce storms, and limited daylight, presented formidable challenges that demanded creative solutions. This environmental adversity became the catalyst for architectural innovation, pushing Viking builders to develop increasingly sophisticated construction techniques. The Vikings' technological innovation in construction represents a fascinating sub-theme in their architectural history. They developed advanced woodworking techniques that allowed them to create structures capable of withstanding extreme weather conditions. Their building methods included innovative solutions such as double-layered walls filled with insulating materials, carefully engineered roof structures that could bear heavy snow loads, and sophisticated drainage systems to manage rainfall and melting snow. Their relationship with the environment evolved into a delicate balance of exploitation and conservation. Viking builders demonstrated remarkable awareness of their surroundings, carefully selecting materials based on their properties and availability. They understood which types of wood were best suited for different architectural elements and developed sustainable forestry practices to ensure a continuous supply of building materials. This environmental consciousness was not born from modern ecological concerns, but from practical necessity and generational wisdom. The evolution of Viking construction techniques over time reveals another crucial sub-theme. What began as simple shelters gradually developed into sophisticated structures that served multiple purposes. This evolution was not linear, but rather adaptive, responding to changing needs and incorporating new influences. As Vikings expanded their territory, they encountered different building traditions and materials, leading to a dynamic fusion of techniques. This technological progression is particularly evident in their development of specialized buildings, such as longhouses, which became increasingly complex and efficient over time. The Vikings' architectural journey was marked by continuous experimentation and refinement. They developed specialized tools for woodworking, created innovative joinery techniques that required no metal fasteners, and perfected methods for ensuring structural stability in various terrain types. Their building practices were not static, but constantly evolving, influenced by both necessity and exposure to new ideas through trade and exploration. This architectural evolution also reflected broader social changes within Viking society. As communities grew more established and prosperous, their buildings became more sophisticated, incorporating both functional improvements and aesthetic elements. The progression from simple dwellings to complex structures with designated spaces for different activities mirrors the development of Viking social organization and cultural complexity. The legacy of Viking architectural innovation extends far beyond their era, influencing construction techniques throughout Northern Europe and beyond. Their solutions to environmental challenges continue to offer relevant insights for modern sustainable architecture, demonstrating how necessity can drive innovation and how traditional wisdom can inform contemporary practices. The story of Viking architecture is thus not merely a tale of survival, but a testament to human creativity and adaptability in the face of environmental challenges. The architecture of Viking settlements provides a fascinating window into their daily life and social organization. At the center of Viking domestic life stood the Longhouse, an architectural marvel that served as the primary dwelling for extended families and communal living. These impressive structures, often reaching lengths of 15 to 75 meters, represented the pinnacle of Viking residential architecture and social organization. The Longhouses' internal layout reflected the sophisticated understanding of space utilization in Viking society. The central hall served as the main living area, where families gathered, meals were shared, and social activities took place. The distinctive curved walls and carefully positioned support posts created an efficient interior space that maximized heat retention while minimizing the impact of harsh winds. The roof's design, with its gentle slope and overlapping wooden shingles, effectively channeled rain and snow away from the living areas. Smaller dwellings complemented these grand longhouses, serving various purposes within the community. These included workshops, storage buildings, and homes for smaller family units or workers. These secondary structures, while more modest in scale, employed the same careful attention to construction techniques and environmental adaptation. They often featured a single room with a central hearth, demonstrating the Vikings' practical approach to space utilization and heating efficiency. For their frequent travels and expeditions, Vikings developed remarkably efficient temporary structures. These portable shelters, known as boodir, could be quickly assembled and disassembled, using a combination of wooden frames and fabric or leather coverings. These structures proved essential during trading expeditions, military campaigns, and exploration ventures, showcasing the Vikings' ability to adapt their architectural knowledge to mobile requirements. The Vikings' mastery of wooden construction techniques set their architecture apart. Their builders understood the properties of different wood types: oak for durability and foundation elements, pine for walls and roof structures, and birch for interior elements. They developed sophisticated joining methods that allowed wooden components to expand and contract with temperature changes without compromising structural integrity. The wooden planks were often overlapped in a clinker-built style, similar to their shipbuilding technique, ensuring weather resistance. Thermal insulation represented a crucial aspect of Viking construction expertise. Their buildings featured double-walled construction, with the space between filled with insulating materials such as straw, moss, or animal wool. Roofs were often covered with turf, providing excellent insulation and protection against the elements. The positioning of hearths and the design of smoke holes demonstrated an advanced understanding of heat distribution and ventilation. The social hierarchy within Viking society found clear expression in their architectural designs. Chieftains' longhouses stood out through their superior size, craftsmanship, and decorative elements. These high-status dwellings often featured elaborately carved portal posts, decorated gable ends, and more sophisticated interior layouts. The main hall in a chieftain's longhouse would be larger and more ornately decorated, suitable for hosting community gatherings and demonstrating the owner's wealth and status. Subtle architectural differences marked social distinctions throughout Viking settlements. The quality of materials, sophistication of construction techniques, and size of buildings all served as indicators of social status. Even smaller details, such as the complexity of wood carving or the presence of imported materials, helped establish and maintain social hierarchies within the community. The Vikings' architectural practices also reflected their community-oriented society. The construction of major buildings, especially longhouses, required coordinated effort from many community members, reinforcing social bonds and mutual dependence. The positioning of buildings within settlements often indicated social relationships and community organization, with important structures occupying central or elevated positions. This architectural heritage reveals a society that masterfully balanced practical needs with social expression, creating buildings that were both functional and meaningful. The Vikings' architectural achievements demonstrate not only their technical skill, but also their sophisticated understanding of how built environments could serve both practical and social purposes in their challenging northern environment. Which Viking construction technique surprised you the most? Share in the comments and show your curiosity about this ingenious civilization. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Medieval Archives channel to follow our next explorations. The evolution of Viking architecture and construction techniques was marked by several pivotal events that revolutionized their building practices and shaped their civilization's development. These transformative moments demonstrate the Vikings' remarkable ability to adapt and innovate in response to new challenges and opportunities. The first major settlement expedition to Iceland in 874 CE, led by Ingólfur Arnason, represents a watershed moment in Viking construction history. This ambitious undertaking required the Vikings to adapt their traditional building techniques to an environment markedly different from their Scandinavian homeland. The settlers encountered a landscape largely devoid of forests, forcing them to develop new construction methods using turf and stone. The success of this adaptation would later influence building practices throughout the Viking world. The settlement of Iceland presented unique challenges that sparked architectural innovation. The settlers had to transport essential building materials by sea, leading to the development of efficient prefabrication techniques. They learned to prepare building components in Norway, where wood was plentiful, marking them for easy assembly upon arrival in Iceland. This sophisticated logistics system would later become a model for other Viking colonial enterprises. The development of advanced shipbuilding techniques marked another crucial turning point in Viking construction history. The evolution of the longship around the 8th century CE represented a quantum leap in naval architecture. The clinker-built construction method, where hull planks overlap each other, created vessels that were both lightweight and incredibly strong. This technological breakthrough not only revolutionized maritime travel, but also influenced building techniques on land, particularly in roof and wall construction. The sophistication of Viking shipbuilding reflected deep understanding of wood properties and joinery techniques. Master shipwrights developed methods to select and prepare wood that would resist warping and water damage. These insights were later applied to building construction, particularly in regions with harsh weather conditions. The techniques used to make ships watertight were adapted to create better sealed buildings, improving their resistance to wind and rain. The Vikings' expansion into new territories, particularly their settlements in Greenland around 985 CE, marked another pivotal moment in their architectural history. The extreme conditions in Greenland forced builders to develop innovative solutions for insulation and weather protection. They created sophisticated multi-layered walls and developed new techniques for using stone and turf in combination with limited wooden resources. These adaptations demonstrated the Vikings' remarkable ability to modify their construction methods while maintaining their traditional architectural principles. Behind these major developments lay intriguing stories of competition and innovation among master builders. The rivalry between different building guilds drove technological advancement as each sought to outdo the others in both technical skill and artistic achievement. This competition was particularly fierce in the construction of prestigious buildings like chieftains' halls and religious structures, where builders would showcase their most advanced techniques and innovative designs. The secretive nature of Viking building techniques added another layer of intrigue to their construction history. Master builders carefully guarded their knowledge, passing it down through family lines or to carefully selected apprentices. These closely held secrets included specific proportional systems for building design, techniques for joining wood without metal fasteners, and methods for ensuring structural stability in different soil conditions. The protection of these trade secrets led to the development of distinct regional building styles and techniques. This secrecy sometimes led to dramatic situations where communities competed to attract skilled builders to their settlements. Historical sources mention instances where master builders were offered significant privileges and wealth to share their knowledge with new communities. Some builders became legendary figures, known for their unique solutions to architectural challenges and their ability to adapt traditional techniques to new environments. The evolution of Viking construction techniques was also marked by significant technological breakthroughs in tool development. The discovery of improved ironworking techniques around the 9th century CE led to better building tools, enabling more precise and sophisticated construction methods. These advances in tool-making technology allowed builders to work more efficiently and create more complex architectural elements. These pivotal events and developments in Viking construction history reveal a dynamic tradition of innovation and adaptation. The combination of necessity-driven innovation, competitive spirit, and carefully guarded expertise produced an architectural legacy that continued to influence Northern European building practices long after the Viking Age. The story of Viking construction is thus one of continuous evolution, marked by moments of brilliant innovation and shaped by the interaction between individual creativity and environmental challenges. Viking architecture and construction techniques represented far more than mere functional solutions. They embodied a rich tapestry of cultural knowledge, artistic expression, and sophisticated technological understanding. The Vikings' building practices integrated practical engineering with deep-rooted cultural symbolism and intellectual achievements. Advanced carpentry stood at the heart of Viking construction expertise. Their master carpenters developed sophisticated woodworking techniques that demonstrated remarkable precision and understanding of wood properties. They created complex joints that could withstand tremendous structural stress without metal fasteners, using techniques like mortise and tenon, dovetail joints, and lap joints. These methods required intimate knowledge of how different wood types behaved under varying conditions and how to account for seasonal changes in the material. The Vikings' decorative wood carving represented the pinnacle of their artistic and technical achievement in construction. Master craftsmen created intricate patterns and designs that served both aesthetic and symbolic purposes. The most skilled artisans could transform wooden surfaces into complex interlaced patterns, animal figures, and mythological scenes. These decorative elements weren't merely ornamental, they often told stories and conveyed important cultural messages through their symbolism. Norse mythology profoundly influenced architectural design and decoration. The world tree, Yggdrasil, often inspired the central supporting posts in longhouses, symbolically connecting the building to cosmic order. Dragon heads adorning roof gables weren't merely decorative, but served as protective symbols, warding off evil spirits and demonstrating the owner's connection to ancient traditions. The placement and orientation of buildings often reflected Norse cosmological beliefs, with certain spaces aligned with celestial events or cardinal directions holding special significance. The symbolism in Viking construction extended to the very layout of their settlements. Important buildings were positioned to maximize their symbolic impact while maintaining practical functionality. Chieftains' halls, for example, were often situated on elevated ground, symbolizing both practical defensive advantages and the elevated social status of their owners. The arrangement of supporting posts within longhouses often followed patterns that reflected Norse concepts of social order and cosmic structure. Viking technological knowledge represented a sophisticated synthesis of practical experience and theoretical understanding. Their navigation techniques influenced building orientation and design, particularly in coastal settlements. Buildings were often positioned to optimize natural lighting and protection from prevailing winds, demonstrating an understanding of seasonal weather patterns and solar movement. This knowledge was crucial for both maritime activities and architectural planning. Naval engineering principles significantly influenced Viking architectural practices. The techniques used in shipbuilding, particularly the understanding of load distribution and structural flexibility, were adapted for building construction. The curved walls of longhouses, reminiscent of ship hulls, provided both structural stability and improved wind resistance. The Vikings' understanding of how structures respond to environmental forces, developed through shipbuilding, informed their architectural solutions. The Vikings developed sophisticated methods for construction across diverse terrains, demonstrating remarkable geological and environmental understanding. They created different foundation types suitable for various soil conditions, from rocky outcrops to marshy ground. In areas with poor drainage, they engineered raised platforms and sophisticated drainage systems, showing advanced understanding of hydrology and soil mechanics. Their intellectual achievement in construction extended to the development of standardized measurement systems and proportional relationships in building design. Viking builders used a sophisticated system of modules based on human proportions and practical experience, ensuring buildings were both aesthetically pleasing and structurally sound. This mathematical approach to design revealed a deep understanding of geometry and structural mechanics. The Vikings' construction knowledge included advanced understanding of thermal dynamics and climate control. They developed sophisticated ventilation systems that managed smoke from hearths while minimizing heat loss. Their buildings demonstrated careful consideration of solar gain, wind patterns, and natural insulation properties of different materials. This knowledge was crucial for survival in harsh Nordic climates and was passed down through generations of builders. The intellectual heritage of Viking builders included sophisticated project management and resource allocation systems. They developed methods for organizing large-scale construction projects, managing workforces, and coordinating material supply chains. This organizational knowledge was as crucial to their success as their technical building skills. Their construction practices also reflected deep ecological understanding. Vikings developed sustainable forestry practices, selecting trees based on age, type, and growing conditions to ensure optimal building materials. They understood the importance of seasoning wood properly and how different cutting techniques affected the final product's durability. The cultural and intellectual elements of Viking construction created a rich tradition that unified practical knowledge with symbolic meaning. Their buildings were not just shelters, but expressions of cultural identity, technological achievement, and intellectual sophistication. This integration of practical skill with cultural significance produced an architectural legacy that continues to fascinate and inspire today's builders and scholars. The Vikings' architectural practices were significantly shaped by their extensive network of trade, exploration, and cultural exchanges. Their interactions with diverse civilizations across Europe, Asia, and North America led to a rich fusion of building techniques and architectural innovations that transformed Norse construction methods. Through their trading networks, Vikings encountered various architectural traditions that influenced their building practices. In their interactions with the Byzantine Empire, they discovered advanced stone masonry techniques and elaborate decorative elements. These encounters inspired Norse builders to incorporate stone foundations into their traditionally wooden structures and adopt more sophisticated decorative motifs. The Byzantine influence was particularly evident in religious buildings and high-status dwellings, where Norse craftsmen began incorporating arched doorways and more complex window designs. The Vikings' trade connections with the Islamic world exposed them to advanced architectural concepts from the Middle East. Through these interactions, they gained knowledge of improved insulation techniques and sophisticated ventilation systems. Muslim architectural influence can be seen in the development of more complex roof structures and the incorporation of innovative heating solutions in Norse buildings. In the British Isles, Viking settlers encountered Celtic and Anglo-Saxon building traditions leading to a unique architectural fusion. They adapted local stone construction techniques while maintaining their traditional wooden building methods. This hybridization resulted in distinctive architectural styles, particularly evident in settlements across Scotland, Ireland, and northern England, where Norse buildings began incorporating local materials and construction techniques while retaining their characteristic spatial organization. The Vikings' territorial expansion required remarkable adaptability in their construction methods. In Iceland, where timber was scarce, they developed sophisticated techniques for building with turf and stone. These adaptations led to the creation of unique building types, like the Icelandic longhouse, which combined traditional Norse spatial concepts with local building materials. The success of these adaptations demonstrated the Vikings' exceptional ability to modify their construction techniques while maintaining their cultural identity. In Greenland, Viking settlers faced extreme environmental challenges that demanded innovative construction solutions. They developed highly insulated structures using a combination of stone, turf, and limited wooden components. These buildings featured thick walls, carefully designed entrances to minimize heat loss, and sophisticated drainage systems to manage melting snow. The Viking settlement in North America, though brief, showcased their ability to adapt their building techniques to entirely new environments. Archaeological evidence from Lance aux Meadows in Newfoundland reveals how they modified their traditional building methods to utilize local materials while maintaining familiar architectural forms. These structures demonstrated their ability to quickly assess local resources and adapt their construction techniques accordingly. The cultural impact of Viking architectural knowledge spread far beyond their settlements. Their building techniques influenced construction practices across northern Europe, particularly in areas where they established long-term settlements. The Vikings' expertise in wooden construction, their efficient use of materials, and their practical solutions to environmental challenges were adopted and adapted by local populations. The exchange of architectural knowledge was not unidirectional. As Vikings established settlements in new territories, they incorporated local building traditions into their own practices. This process of architectural adaptation and innovation created new hybrid styles that combined the best aspects of Norse and local building traditions. These hybrid styles often proved more effective than either tradition alone, particularly in challenging environmental conditions. The legacy of these interactions continues to influence Northern European architecture. The Vikings' practical approach to construction, their efficient use of local materials, and their ability to adapt to different environments establish principles that remain relevant in modern sustainable architecture. Their experience in creating comfortable living spaces in harsh climates offers valuable lessons for contemporary builders facing similar challenges. The story of Viking architectural interactions and influences demonstrates how cultural exchange and practical necessity can drive innovation in building practices. Their ability to maintain cultural identity while adapting to new environments and incorporating foreign influences created a dynamic architectural tradition that continues to inspire modern builders and designers. The architectural legacy of the Vikings extends far beyond their historical era, continuing to influence modern construction practices and architectural philosophy. Their innovative approaches to building and resourceful use of materials offer valuable lessons for contemporary architecture and sustainable design. The impact of Viking construction techniques on European architecture was profound and long-lasting. Their sophisticated wooden construction methods influenced building practices throughout Northern Europe for centuries. The Vikings' advanced understanding of wood joinery and structural design can still be seen in traditional Scandinavian architecture and has experienced a renaissance in modern timber construction. Their innovative roof truss systems, which efficiently distributed loads while maximizing interior space, became a foundation for medieval European architectural development. The Vikings' legacy of ingenuity is particularly evident in their solutions to environmental challenges. Their development of effective insulation techniques using natural materials like turf and wood predated modern concepts of sustainable building by centuries. Their understanding of passive heating and cooling, achieved through careful building orientation and design, demonstrates principles that contemporary architects are rediscovering as they seek to create more energy-efficient structures. In modern sustainable architecture, Viking building principles find renewed relevance. Their emphasis on local materials, adaptive design, and environmental harmony aligns perfectly with current green building practices. Contemporary architects are drawing inspiration from Viking construction techniques, particularly in cold climate regions where efficient insulation and weather resistance are crucial. The Vikings' use of renewable materials and their waste-minimizing construction practices offer valuable insights for modern sustainable architecture. The adaptability inherent in Viking architecture provides important lessons for contemporary design challenges. Their ability to modify building techniques for different environments while maintaining structural integrity demonstrates principles crucial for modern architecture facing climate change. The Vikings' practical approach to problem-solving, combining traditional knowledge with innovation, offers a model for addressing current architectural challenges. Viking architectural principles have found surprising applications in modern design. Their understanding of structural flexibility, developed through shipbuilding and applied to architecture, influences contemporary designs for earthquake-resistant buildings. Their efficient use of space and multifunctional design concepts resonate with modern trends in compact urban living and adaptive reuse of buildings. The psychological aspects of Viking architecture also offer insights for contemporary design. Their creation of communal spaces that fostered social interaction while providing personal privacy reflects principles that modern architects strive to achieve in residential and commercial designs. The Vikings' understanding of how built environments affect human behavior and social dynamics remains relevant in contemporary architectural psychology. The resilience demonstrated in Viking architecture serves as an inspiration for modern sustainable development. Their ability to create durable, comfortable structures using minimal resources challenges contemporary architects to think more creatively about resource efficiency. The Vikings' practical solutions to environmental challenges demonstrate how architectural innovation can arise from necessity. Their legacy in construction project management continues to influence modern practices. The Vikings' organized approach to building projects, from resource gathering to construction sequencing, provides valuable lessons for contemporary construction management. Their efficient use of prefabrication and standardized components parallels modern modular construction techniques. The Vikings' architectural achievements remind us that innovative solutions often arise from working within environmental constraints rather than against them. Their success in creating comfortable, durable buildings in challenging environments demonstrates the importance of understanding and working with local conditions rather than imposing standardized solutions. As we face modern challenges of climate change and resource conservation, the Viking approach to architecture offers valuable perspectives on sustainable development. Their integration of practical functionality with cultural values demonstrates how buildings can serve both physical and social needs while respecting environmental limitations. The architecture of the Vikings stands as a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability. Their legacy challenges us to think more creatively about architectural solutions, reminding us that successful design often comes from understanding and working with environmental constraints while maintaining cultural identity and social functionality. We hope this journey through Viking architecture has inspired you to think differently about historical building practices and their modern relevance. If you enjoyed exploring these fascinating architectural innovations, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the Medieval Archives for more journeys into the ingenious solutions of our ancestors. Join us next time as we continue to uncover the wisdom of the past.